and subscribe. And come here. Whee! This is where I slept. I still haven't moved this mattress out. Stompy! Hi. Stompy, come here. Oh, whoa. Hi. No eating that. No. Okay. Chat. Look. Look. Chat. Would you like them? TikTok. Ow! Oh my god. This bird. Peekaboo. 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 She doesn't even know what's happening. Surprise. Why isn't that bird in the wild? So this bird was incubated at a zoo in California. So she's heavily imprinted on people because she's never been around adult emus in her life. The emus at the zoo had, I think, like 14 eggs, and they incubated and successfully hatched 3 of them because they wouldn't take care of the ones that they laid. So, but also, I mean, they live in Australia. I couldn't release her in Texas. How big will she get? 5 to 6 feet tall, and just about 100 pounds. They can run up to 35 miles per hour as adults. It'll take her about 2 years to be fully grown. She's already pretty fast. Why did the zoo hand her over to your rehab center? So I don't have a rehab center. I am a wildlife rehabber. I work for another organization that does wildlife rehab. She is not wildlife. She's an educational ambassador for my nonprofit. Does it feel like a cat? No. She's actually pretty coarse. How long will you take care of her? I mean, I don't have a plan to rehome her. What does it mean to be an educational ambassador? For wildlife like her, or for exotic animals like her, an educational ambassador is an animal that's not releasable that represents their wild counterparts, and are used in education programs to teach people about their wild counterparts. So she's drinking water right now. Good. Water's good for you. Do you need a license or certification to have an emu? No, not for an emu. Not in Texas anyway. I actually don't think that you need a license in any state in the US to have an emu, but you do in the UK. But I think they're classified as like livestock. You can walk into a store and buy an emu. I mean, no, they don't sell them at like pet stores. But people have them on farms, like living alongside their livestock. Some people breed emus for meat and for emu oil as well. Oil? Yeah. Emus have this like oil gland on their back, and I think it's on their back. And you can extract emu oil, and it's got a bunch of cosmetic benefits. It's like a moisturizer and an anti-inflammatory, and I forget what the other purposes are. But it's a co-product of emu meat. So emus that are slaughtered for meat, their oil is also extracted to be sold separately. Are you gonna harvest this one? Absolutely not, no. This is an educational ambassador. She's not livestock for me. She's gonna live at the facility at the nonprofit. Is there a difference between co-product and byproduct? I mean, logically, I'd like to believe that it's just like 2 products that come together but don't really have to do with each other, whereas a byproduct is like you get something as a result of creating a product, right? But I don't know the actual definitions. No, emus aren't endangered. They're actually doing pretty well. They're all over Australia. And yeah, they can live alone. They're primarily solitary birds, just not at this age. So at this age, she would be living with other babies and the father emu for a while. But as adults, they're solitary birds, and they only really flock together for mating and migrating. She's fine on her own because she's with people all the time and she's imprinted on people. Is he gonna bite? Well, she doesn't have teeth, but she does peck. Boop. See, she wants the ring. Do you have difficulties with anthropomorphism and your animals ever? Of course. So does every pet owner ever. Anthropomorphism is just assigning human traits to animals, which can be super detrimental to understanding animal behavior. You know, like people see things in animals and they'll be like, oh, she's mad, or she's happy, or she's jealous, you know, things like that. Emotions that animals don't necessarily feel. Happiness was a terrible example, but jealousy is a good one. You know, people will be like, my dog's jealous because I was petting this other dog and that's why she's not looking at me right now. That kind of thing is anthropomorphism. It happens everywhere. It happens to the best of us, to the worst of us. I anthropomorphize animals all the time, you know. I just have to be careful of it when I'm actually thinking about behavior and when I'm training. 4K subs. She does have wings. They're about this big, and they are, I mean, I was going to say practically useless, but they are, I think, completely useless, actually. Can we show them? Oh, gosh, okay. Her wings are right here. That's a wing. At this point in her life, they're absolutely useless. Later on, I don't know if they help with balance or something, but they're not flighted. No buttons for you. You eat her eggs. Yeah, you can eat emu eggs. I think they taste pretty much like chicken eggs, just like a little bit richer. Ow. And they're huge. Doesn't that make having a pet kind of cruel, never allowing them to mate? No, mating is not something that's necessary for their well-being. You can absolutely have a single emu that has a full life. They don't need to mate to be happy. When does she sleep? She sleeps throughout the night. But yeah, I mean, also that's already a given, but yeah, she's not a pet. Are you planning on halter or target training? Actually, yeah. So I am planning on target training her. And the way I'm going to do that is she's already super attracted to shiny things. So I think I'm going to get like a stick with a little shiny ball or like a metallic ball at the end of it. And anytime she touches the target, I'll reward her. But right now it's hard to do because she's eating chick starter. So feeding chick starter as a bit or as a treat is like not ideal because it's crumble. But eventually I'll probably do it when she's eating produce or something, or I find a treat that she likes more that's more manageable to feed. Yeah, they do lay eggs like chickens. But yeah, having a shiny object as a target, it makes it a lot easier for her because she's already attracted to them. It's called capturing a behavior. One of the easiest ways to train your dog to sit, instead of like convincing them to sit or like working them into a sit, is if they're standing in front of you and they just sit down naturally, you reward them. It's called capturing a behavior. And that's like the easiest way to train a behavior ever, to me. I mean, it depends on the species, but I don't understand why you are keeping it for now as a pet. What do you plan to do with it? Apologize, I don't understand is all. Okay, so first of all, welcome to the channel. Second of all, I have a nonprofit that's an exotic animal sanctuary and virtual education center in Texas. She is our first educational ambassador. She's far too small to live outside right now. She has to be inside. She's not a pet. She's an ambassador for her species, so she'll be part of our education programs at the facility. Right now she lives inside because it's dangerous for her to be outside because she still needs a heat lamp, and she's getting a ton of socialization with people so that she can be the best ambassador possible, so she can be happy being around people for the rest of her life. Practically a pet. I mean, if you want to think of it that way, I mean, she is in my house and I do spend a ton of time with her and I take care of her. But the intent of this animal is for her to be an educational ambassador and to represent wildlife, so it's not the same. The reason that I'm so aggressive about saying that it's not a pet is because I don't want people looking at her and being like, wow, like I want to get one in my house. You know, that's why monkeys and parrots and so many other cool animals are exploited so heavily by the pet trade, is people are like, ooh, I want one for myself. and then they end up being a wild animal that is really hard to care for, that has behaviors that are impossible to mitigate if you don't have experience with that species, and then they end up being dangerous to you or themselves, and then people either release them or they have to give them up somewhere else, and it's just a really unfortunate situation for the person and the animal. So that's why I advocate for the not a pet thing. I hope that clears that up a little bit. I want one now. Yeah, I mean, I understand she's like the cutest thing, right? She's just like this little melon, and she's super, super social, and she's cool to be running around and whatever, but she will get 5 to 6 feet tall. I mean, if you don't have a pasture, if you don't have like land where you can have an adult emu in pasture, you do not want this in your house. In a couple months, she can't be in this house. She doesn't stay this size. She's already, when I got her on Monday, she was 575 grams, and then on Friday, she was 738 grams. She's growing very, very quickly. So she's cute right now, and she's okay in the house right now, but she will not be in a couple months. Trust me. You'll see her. You'll see her grow up. So it'll make more sense to you then. But if you have a ton of land and you have pasture and you want to have emus as livestock, you don't need a permit, I think, in most, if not all, U.S. states to have emus. And they're cool just to chill in pasture. They also make decent livestock protection.
Nintendo was shot by Skeleton.